Hello and welcome to Vegan Cafe 21. Today we are making nutritious gluten-free crackers right in our kitchen. So let's get started. For this recipe we are using a 1/4 cup of flax seeds, 1/4 cup of pumpkin seeds, 1/4 cup of chia seeds, a 1/4 cup of almond flour, 3/4 of a cup of hulled buckwheat flour. Back in this bowl, I have chopped 3 pitted Medjool dates and soaked them in a 1/4 cup of water. For seasoning, you can be as creative as you want, but I'm keeping it simple. Here I have 3/4 of a teaspoon of pink salt, 1/2 teaspoon of red chili flakes, a 1/4 cup of good quality extra virgin olive oil. If we need a little more, we can add more as we see it fit. And we are going to grind some black pepper into our cracker dough as well. I would say anywhere from a 1/4 teaspoon to a 1/2 teaspoon. First, we are going to puree our soaked dates. Our date puree is ready. So now we're going to take a bowl and add all of our dry ingredients to this bowl. To these dry ingredients, we are going to add our olive oil. Using our fingertips, we will rub it in nicely till we get a nice crumbly texture. It is important to do this step before you add your wet ingredients to this mix to make sure every particle gets a nice coating of our olive oil. Now the test of the right proportion of fat to dry ingredients is if you do this, the dough kind of comes together and it crumbles very easily. This test will ensure that you get nice crispy crackers. Now we'll also grind in some black pepper. Give this a good mix. And now we add in our date puree. Incorporate that before you add any more water to bring this dough together. Now we don't want our dough to be too tight at this stage because we are going to let it rest for good 10-12 minutes and the seeds are going to do their magic and tighten it further. So a little semi-soft dough to begin with. Now at this point we will know how much water do we really need to pull it all together. So add water 1 tablespoon at a time. I have a 1/4 cup of water sitting on the side. We don't want to add too much water all at once. I think hands work best when preparing dough. That way you can feel the texture and keep adjusting it. If your dough for some reason becomes a little too loose, you can sprinkle a little bit of buckwheat flour to get it back to the tightness that you need. It looks good at this point. I ended up using about 2 tablespoons of water out of this 1/4 cup that I had. Now I'm going to cover it and let it hang out for about 10-12 minutes. All right, so our dough has rested for about 10 minutes and it has tightened quite a bit. Now we are ready to proceed further. So here's what we're going to do. I have a sheet of parchment paper about the size of the baking tray that I'm going to use to bake our crackers in. I have actually 2 sheets. So let's put the tray to the side for now. On one of these sheets, I'm going to just dust a little bit of buckwheat flour. Also dust my fingers so it doesn't stick to them. Gather up all the dough and move it to our parchment paper. Flatten it out just a little bit to give us a little head start. I'm going to give it a rectangle shape. A little more dusting up on top. Now we spread this sheet on top of our dough. And using a rolling pin, we are going to start rolling our dough. Let's see how thick we have. If it cracks, don't worry about it. We can fix the cracks once we are done rolling our dough. But we want it as thin as we can get. Let's see. All right, looks good. Now the aesthetics of it. If you want to just fix these edges, you can, or you can just simply cut them. Now to cut our crackers, I'm going to use a pizza cutter. You can use a knife if that's what you have. But before we do this, let's start preheating our oven to 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Now we'll start cutting. You can decide the shape and the size of your crackers. This is a very forgiving dough, so if you see any cracks or holes, you can just use your fingers to patch them. Now we bring in our baking tray, lift our crackers and place it on the tray directly. If you don't want to place them on the tray directly, you can just put your parchment paper just the way it is. I like to separate my crackers so they brown and cook evenly from all sides. I'm going to put the rest on our second tray. Our oven is preheated to 275. Both of our trays are ready with crackers. I'm going to walk them to our preheated oven, bake them on the middle rack at 275 for about 25 to 30 minutes. Time may vary depending on your oven. The idea is to get them lightly golden brown and crisp. All right, 30 minutes later, our crackers are ready and out of the oven. As you can see, they're nice golden brown. Now at this point, you can also flip these because the tray is still very hot. So they'll continue to crisp up if you do this. You want to let them sit on the tray for a few minutes and let the heat kind of do its thing. Allow them to crisp up even more. We'll come back after about 5 to 7 minutes and I'll show you how crisp they are. Okay, let me show you one of these. Nice and crisp. Let's give it a try. The crunch, the taste, the wholesomeness of this cracker is unbelievable. So please give them a try. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I'll see you again soon with more vegan favorites.